Welcome, everybody. My name's Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back again with the messages for the week of March 9th as we start to move forward in some ways this week, which I think will have a really big impact. So we're going to break that all down this week. Hopefully you have been transitioning well through this full moon lunar eclipse that we just experienced on the 3rd. We, of course, are still in the energy until we get to next week's, I think, pretty beneficial new moon in the sign of Pisces. Things are finally illuminated. The things that have been hidden are coming to the surface, and they're going to help us get started for reals on our fire horse year. So that's to come. But this week we just have some minor shifts and changes coming that are going to help set us up for that new moon in the sign of Pisces. So it's an emotional week when we have the energy that we do in the water signs that are slowing down and changing direction. So hopefully you have clicked on that subscribe button and this is starting to sound familiar to you. That way you get notification every time I post new content. And then you want to make sure you go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. Out there you have access to all my free material, which is all of the written articles, including new moons and full moons and monthly horoscopes to help you prepare for the weeks and months ahead. And right now, of course, you have access to the March content, including that full moon lunar eclipse. If you haven't read that yet, go back and take a look and watch last week's video. And of course, the upcoming new moon in Pisces is out there for you already as well. And the April content is all ready for you to go as well. I'm going to be on the road for half of March and a beginning of April, so I will not be doing client sessions. So if you want to book a session with me, you need to do that this week. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till April when I get back. So if you want to get those new moon intention sessions going, make sure you book with me this week, and we'll have a worksheet that you can use to help you prepare. But this is finally the time where setting new moon intentions is going to be more readily accepted and available for you to get things done. All right. With that, we are just going to, as usual, take a look at the Astro Gold software here. I am going to give you the breakdown, and it is going to move pretty quickly because, like I said, there's not a lot moving or changing this week. So what am I keeping an eye on? As we start the week, we see Jupiter at the last point of its retrograde. So it is stationing to go direct. Thank goodness. But as planets change direction, as they slow down to make the big turn around the sun, they put out a lot of excess energy. So Jupiter already expands on things. But while it's retrograde, the expansion's been more internal. As this is changing direction, what's been internal will suddenly expand outward. So Jupiter is immigration. It's families, because it's foreign people, foreign countries. Cancer is families. And of course, last week, we saw a certain person in the government who oversaw Homeland Security lose their job. That's Jupiter stationing to go direct. When you are abusing your power, planets like Jupiter hold you accountable. When you're not following rules, planet like Saturn hold you accountable. And so we are also seeing in the weekend before this recording that Venus had just crossed over what I like to call the Big Bang point, where Neptune and Saturn were just weeks ago and kicked off this new momentous energy for us. And at the same time, we also saw that event. So there's been a lot of talk about why aren't things moving faster? Why aren't things changing? We will start to see changes now with these activations going on. Now, Venus is a daily planet, a personal planet. So that means her energy interacts with us on more of a day-to-day basis. Jupiter is a bit above that day-to-day activity. And that's why the work a lot of times is interior. And then once it's ready to show up in our lives, it does in big ways. This is a benefic planet. Jupiter's also a teacher. And so as it's slowing down, what will be important this week is that we're paying attention to the conversations, to the information, to the secrets that are being exposed, because Mercury is going to be still speaking in harmony with Jupiter as it has throughout the weekend leading up to this week. And so this is all about learning lessons and learning lessons about things that have been hidden and are beneath the surface, secrets, things that happened in the past, details. So the foggy thinking that has maybe made it harder to get clear on what to do and how to do it and when to do it, it will pick up a bit in intensity. And then as we get later in the week and Jupiter starts moving us forward, it's going to help kind of clear up some of the fog as well. But as long as Mercury is retrograde, which is until the 20th, the spring equinox, you still need to set expectations that are realistic, that things are not going to go the way you expect them to go, that the details will not be correct. Like, this is still the time for the next 2 weeks to continue to slow down. But as things are revealed, you're going to want to act immediately. And I'm just cautioning you to take it slowly. Whatever you're learning and responding to, give it time, because there still might be just a wee bit more to understand before you're ready. Now, helping us have a clear understanding again on Monday is this brief minor triangle between Pluto and Aquarius. Remember, Pluto is power to the people, but it's also a transformation of the power of the people, right? It's a death and rebirth of the people's power and energy and fear and so much work. Again, another planet that works on a subconscious level on our psyche. As it's moving forward still, it is today on Monday speaking in harmony with that Venus energy, and they are both speaking in harmony with the moon in Sagittarius. This suggests to me, from a collective perspective, that there are some kind of alliances being formed today, and women in particular are playing a really important role in whatever is being decided upon at this time. We get that from Venus and Aries, which again, this is a 3-week time frame where women will be speaking up. This is women who are feeling motivated and confident to make a difference. And then when you have the moon in the sign of Sagittarius, of course, ruled by Jupiter, foreign countries, women who are highly educated. These are moms, right? That are taking a big stand in some way. So there's some very momentous energy that kicks us off. There's not a lot of conflict, not new conflict anyway, going on. There is this desire for solutions, maybe peace talks on Monday pick up because of some of the difficulty that was going on in the weekend prior. So that is how we are getting started. And as we head on into Tuesday, as I mentioned, we're not going to see a whole lot of shifting and changing because there just isn't anything moving at this time. So we're just going to head straight on into Wednesday. And this is when we see, hallelujah, Jupiter is moving forward again. And I can tell you, those with strong Cancerian energy have felt the weight of this transit since last November 11th. It's been very heavy. But personally, after the lunar eclipse, I started feeling a lightening of the energy, which was, Jupiter starting to slow down. And so now it is finally stationing to go direct, and it's going to move us forward in these areas. So we will see changes in immigration. We will see more benefits going to families. We will be needing to care and nurture for one another. Those will be some of the topics and themes. And then whatever you've been working on since last November and under review about, well, you should have a better understanding and now know what to do going forward. And of course, that same energy, that's this Mercury connection. Mercury's moving back farther, but it is still, because Jupiter is such a large planet, in contact and making good connections. So the things that we are learning and are uncovering while Mercury is retrograde, they're so critically important to the future, to what we can start doing and moving forward. So keep paying attention to the details. Keep slowing down. Keep questioning your understanding of certain topics and people who try to control how you think and how you speak. Like, it's time to dissolve those things. And so today we're finally ready in some area of our lives to start moving things forward again. And there can be blessings, especially if you have Jupiter making personal connections. Like I said, those Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moons, this energy has traveled between this 15 and 25 degrees. So all of your personal planets, your angles within that 15 to 25 degrees of Cancer have been getting lessons from Jupiter as it's moved through here. And now, hopefully, the outcome of those lessons is more apparent and you're able to start applying the knowledge that you have gained. Remember, Jupiter is about growth. And once we've done the work, then, like Saturn, but much nicer, Jupiter can bring rewards to you. And so this is a wonderful day for that heaviness to lighten and to feel like there's hope again. I think that's how this is going to show up. And it's between now and the end of July that we experience everything from Jupiter's perspective as far as moving forward. And then later in July is when it's going to move into the sign of Leo. And we'll be talking more about that later. This summer, the energy is fascinating, as it always is, but truly fascinating during the summer that we'll definitely want to talk about. The other thing that's been stirring things up is this Uranus in the last degrees of Taurus. So we've seen the stock market go wackadoodle along with what's been going on in the Middle East, and it's going to require quite a bit of patience. This is definitely going to be a roller coaster ride as far as finances go, all the way through when Uranus moves into the sign of Gemini towards the later part of April, especially when it hits at that 29 degree of Taurus. There can be some significant financial tests that are going on. Remember, this is a new era. We're talking about new systems, old systems dissolving, new ones being created and formed. And so there will likely be some fallout in the financial markets because of everything that's going on right now in the Middle East. And of course, with this Uranus at the last degrees of Taurus. So there's a brief contact between the moon in Sagittarius and that Uranus energy in Taurus. Now, of course, foreign countries, moon in Sagittarius and Uranus, Taurus, money. So there can be some difficult connections that, again, could be impacting the stock market on Wednesday at the same time that we have Jupiter moving forward. So that feels like a big day as far as energy goes. We've got a combination of some weird, crunchy energy going on and some beautiful blessings showing up to help us navigate through this energy. So again, we're just going to need to be patient, and we really have to work on grounding ourselves because we have all this fire energy, all this water energy. We have nothing really keeping us grounded in the earth sign because the only thing in the earth sign that's impactful is Uranus, and Uranus is shaking up the earth. It's shaking up our resources. It's shaking up our material world, literally. It's not just Madonna. It's Uranus too. So there is potential for there to be some weird moving and shaking going on today because of this connection between that moon in Sagittarius and Uranus in Taurus. So just, keep an eye out on it. There's some more intensity building as we are taking a look at tomorrow's energy as well. So it would be good to be cautious in your travels on this day and take it slow, like I said, until Mercury's moving forward again. But big cheer, sigh of relief. The Jupiter retrograde is over, and at least one piece of the story is ready to move forward. I know I am. All right. And then not any big changes as we move into Thursday, except, this little one, and that is Mars beginning to connect with the North Node in Pisces. So, and this will go for Thursday and well into Friday. But as it starts now, this again is where Mercury began its retrograde story. And so we have seen the sun come through here and shine a light on it. Now we're seeing Mars. And when we are interacting with the nodes, these are fated events. And Mars is action being taken, or should we say action being guided by fate? Because Mars is movement, action, war. So maybe there's finally some deterrent that makes both sides, or 3 or 4 or 5, however many sides we think we have going on right now with each other, realize that it's time to quell all of this. Do I think it'll totally die down? I am not so sure, but there is definitely something going on today. It again has to do with secrets, hidden information, and while Mercury was uncovering the information, the sun shined a light on it. Mars is who takes action on whatever fate and destiny wants the action taken to be. So Mars doesn't necessarily love being in Pisces, right? It's an emotional, watery sign, and Mars is a fire planet and feels like this energy can dampen its ability to take action. But water can be boiled by fire as well. Things can get stirred up that are underneath or beneath the sea. So I'm just still saying that I don't completely trust everything that's going on with this Middle East conflict. And today looks to be a strange day where the unexpected might just happen. So again, when the North Node is speaking with Mars, that means it's opposing the South Node. So there's this system of control from the past that is being exposed. And it's not just by Mars's pressure, this South Node in Virgo, that's also having this, again, strange contact with Venus in the sign of Aries. So women, strong women in leadership roles are challenging men and their systems. So this looks to be a very intriguing day. The moon speaks to the nodes in harmony from Capricorn, which can create changes in government roles or leaders in the government. And it would be a fated change because it's, again, positively aspecting Mars in Pisces. So there may be, again, some women in leadership roles that are working beneath the surface, behind the scenes to, create these peace talks. We may also begin to see, because that Jupiter energy can be very holy and spiritual, like Pisces, more influence from the Pope or the Vatican this week as well. But we have a very, very active sky today with that Mars connection to the North Node. So when you feel called to do something, to take action on something, to get your to-do list done, to paint, to sing, to take a hot bath, right? This is things to do with water. Don't question it, just do it. This is a great day for sound baths, sound healings, great time to meditate by the water, walk by the water, because you just may feel inspired to do something different, to let something go from the past that's keeping you stuck and holding you back. So there's lots of ways we can leverage this energy, but there's so much going on that you may feel pulled in so many different directions that you're just not sure which way to go. And that's when you need to, again, ground yourself. So the moon in Capricorn's at fall. It is a little cold and stark and rigid here versus its warm, cozy home in Cancer. And of course, the moon, as it moves forward throughout the day, will be in opposition to Jupiter in its home sign as well. Now, this isn't a battle. This is just a soft calling and reminder of the need for balance between, men and women, between the patriarchy and the matriarchy, between the government and families. So there is definitely some twists and turns that are happening here on Thursday that you will do best with recognizing when you're feeling pulled into many, many, many directions, to just pause and pick one thing and finish it. All right. So you are picking one thing, you're going to finish it from beginning to end, and just jot down all the other things that come up today that keep trying to distract you, and take a look at them after the fact. But definitely be ready to move yourself forward. And speaking of forward, let's take a look at Friday. All right, so Friday, we'll mostly see that the moon has moved forward, still in the sign of Capricorn, and this connection with fate and destiny and our growth forward into the light gets stronger, as, of course, Mars is now exactly with the North Node, opposing the South Node. Still have that influence of Venus. So today really feels just like a continuation of this energy that feels a little chaotic, a little disruptive, interruptive, like it's still making you feel like you're going in multiple directions all at once. So still, today, that moon will help ground you, and it's a great day to get outdoors, connect to the earth energy, literally ground your feet into the earth to help calm and settle this energy down as much as possible. And then also trust, though, if you're being guided to do something, to go somewhere, to get moving in some way, as I mentioned before, whether it's art or music or beauty, something in that realm, just go. Now, my one caution, don't go in the water because Mars is still war and a warrior, and it's in the water and doing things, bringing things, stirring things up from beneath the water. So just be really careful. If you are doing any vacationing and you're by the sea, just do it cautiously. That's my caveat. Plus, it's Friday the 13th. So weird, crazy stuff is going to happen today. Now, I personally think this is a good lucky day. And I don't think we have to be afraid of it, but the energy is very strange. And so we just want to be extra careful because there's always those who will tune into the energy and use it in ways that are not helpful for the larger audience. So that's our fun Friday the 13th. And I hope it actually brings you a lot of good luck and you get moving in the direction that you're meant to move in. And that is really what we will finish out this week with. We will see the moon join with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So Saturday can be an emotional day that calls people together. There could be protests happening at this time as well because of that need of being of service, of coming together, of wanting to make a difference in some way. Again, Pluto's energy is at the psychology level, right? It's things that are working on your psyche, not necessarily showing up in your day-to-day life. It's collective energy that you're feeling. But it's a great day for connecting with people that are like-minded and, again, coming together with them. And then as we wrap up the week on Sunday, you're going to notice that Mercury and Mars have switched places. So Mercury is moving next to the North Node, and it will pretty much sit here for the next 5 days, stationing and getting ready to go direct. So again, whatever things we learn now, it's faded information, the faded details, all the things that have been hidden beneath the surface. So you've got Mars, which is movement, Mercury's, which is movement. Of course, that movement's backwards. It's internal right now. But that says to me, this is a very intense time emotionally and in the deep waters as these two meet and are still holding hands with the North Node as well. So there's definitely movement. Pisces is 12th house energy. It's far away places like overseas where things are still pretty intense. So we might have some aggressive peace talks going on, but chances are things are stirring up again and maybe not necessarily for the better. It's just, we're going to have to be patient as this all begins to unwind. And you can also go back to what have these last 6 weeks been about for you, because now as Mercury's coming back to its resting place before it gets moving forward again, you may finally have that total and complete realization about what this work has meant for you. And then, of course, what has all of this meant for us here in the United States? The things that have been coming up and happening over the last 6 weeks have been rather dramatic. But why? We're going to get to the root of that over these next 5 days, especially as we get headed to that new moon. So while this week was pretty easy, although it's taken me like 5 times to get through this video because of all of the distractions. So that tells me that's how next week is going to feel. It will be hard to complete anything because there will be lots of distractions. It always gives me a little chuckle when I'm connecting to the energy to do the reading and then the energy starts showing up in my life via the recording. So hopefully I'll be able to make it through all of the edits because they're going to be a little bit messy. So as we wrap up this week though, and then head into next, that's where all of the things are coming together. So as I mentioned, Mercury will be sitting here with the nodes, fate and destiny, teaching us what we need to do with all of the information that has been coming to the surface. So as soon as Monday, the moon also will dip right into the sign of Pisces. And then as we get to Wednesday, that is when we're going to have that big emotional new moon that is being empowered by Uranus. So, oh boy, these are very surprising, unexpected new beginnings that are going to come up for us. So we'll break that down next week. As I mentioned, you can go check out the article now that's already out there that you can get an idea of what this might look like for you. We'll have Jupiter squaring with Venus. Jupiter is, again, still speaking in harmony now with Mars. So this is a big, powerful opportunity to start something new as long as you're willing to make changes and learn from your past. That's what we get on Wednesday. And then we're going to see Mercury retrograde end just as the sun moves into the sign of Aries. So, oh my goodness, it is an action-packed week. Why, I asked myself, did I decide to take a road trip with all of this energy? I'm hoping it keeps me willing to drive for many, many hours a day as I make it across the country. So it should be a very interesting week for sure. All right. I'll be keeping you posted on that. We'll come back together next week and do the breakdown for every sign for this pretty powerful new moon in the sign of Pisces. Crazy and unexpected, and see what might be showing up for you and me. Oh boy. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and check in with me daily for those daily tarot cards, because I do put a little sprinkle of astrology in with the day's prediction from the cards perspective as well, and you won't want to miss that. All right. Talk to you soon and have an amazing week ahead. Take care, everybody.